Hello, friends. This is Johnster Monster of episode 239 of Shadow and Playing with Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde, Lockheed, and Magic podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing Amazing Spider-Man Volume 618 as part of our Dark Web coverage. And I'm going to review X-Men 97 Season 2, Episode 6, Danger.exe. And then we're going to do San Diego Comic-Con coverage of both the PS5 Wolverine and Maxim X-Men announcement, plus the Marvel Next Big Thing panel. And then spoil the heck out of this week's comics of X-Men Hellfire Murder 1, Moonstar 5, Uncanny X-Men Volume 632, Wolverine Volume 824, Gambit Wanted 1, Godzilla Conquers the Multiverse, and very quickly, Captain Marvel Dark Past 4, plus the October 26th solicitations. So it's going to be a big episode, everybody. And we'll talk about this more at the end of the episode, but I just want to officially launch the Shadow and Playing of Magic Patreon up top of the episode. Friend of the pod, Vic from Comic Books Beyond podcast is a top tier Patreon. And so just want to say thank you so much for being the first and just believing in the pod and just being a great overall friend. Comic Books Beyond, check that podcast out. It's just doing great numbers over there. And uh but first, even more, back to the show. We got the Avengers Doomsday trailer, and I was just gonna watch it here just to make sure we say all the things about it. Um, it starts off with the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters sign. Then Xavier is seeing some fire in the sky. Oh, Arizona sci-fi movie. And so is it a Dark Phoenix? Is it just Doom's arrival? We do hear Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom voice, which sounds pretty legit to the point where it's like, well, probably should have just cast anybody and just had him to do that voice. Oh yeah, Thor's going to be our main character, which makes sense. The Fantastic Four are there. They got cool jackets. The new Avengers are there, which wonder if I should get my wife to watch that movie. She didn't see that. The Wakandans are there. Cap Falk. Let's see. Oh yeah, then we get the X-Men. Like Cyclops, Gambit's fighting Shang-Chi, Mystique fights Yolanda. Loki's there, the TVA. The Thing is in Wakanda at least. I know some people are giving Mystique's red wig a hard time, but I don't know. She looks great. Xavier and Magneto together. Ant-Man and his daughter Cassie setting up the Young Avengers. Gambit in a room full of the Thunderbolts. Namor's there. Doom not being scared of Thor is a boss move. And then the final scene image of young Steve Rogers and Thor together, and he's holding Mjolnir, and it's coming out December 18th, so that's pretty cool. Um, I'm already taking the day off of that. We're also got our tickets for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So next episode we're going to do Spider-Man Brand New Day, complete Dark Web, um, Dawn, and whatever comics come out next. Just looking at my notes to make sure I didn't leave anything out. Yeah. And even if that one X-Men scene's all the X-Men content we get, that's fine with me. That movie did its job. And then the San Diego Comic-Con PS5 Wolverine Deep Cuts panel. Thanks to IGN for covering the panel and for Comic Books Beyond for giving me the link for that because I was like, where can I watch this? Jean's definitely a pal in this movie and is in it more than just that initial scene we saw. The game takes place 3 years after the Weapon X program. There are no X-Men, though apparently this is the first game in a planned trilogy, so hopefully we get an awesome X-Men game, ideally on the PS5. We will be teaming up with Sabretooth for a bit, which hopefully isn't gross. Trask and the Reavers will be threats. Trask looks a lot like Stephen Colbert. Liam McIntyre will be voicing Wolverine. It looks like he did a lot of the face modeling, which I think he looks fine. I know some people are giving it a hard time, but like a skin in Fortnite, we're barely going to be seeing that guy's face. So I don't know. Plus, I imagine there'd be like different costumes that do a different face model, and I don't know. The hands also in this, which is cool, as they are also in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Lady Deathstrike's leading them, which is odd as she isn't involved with the Reavers, but maybe she is. There's a Wolverine game prequel comic, which I did eBay, and people are trying to sell it for $80, which is okay. There's going to be a Marvel Token Fighting Souls inspired suit that we'll be able to unlock by entering Japanese arcade. It looks very animated, so that's cool. Then the PS5 Wolverine Battle Reborn suit will be in the Token game on September 1st, which is also pretty cool. I saw the Magic character select screen, and they have like her classic black outfit, and then that outfit with some yellow highlights is a New Mutants one, a blue one for some reason, and then a red and yellow one, which I imagine is supposed to evoke the Phoenix 5 suit. Um, I read that Wolverine, Sabretooth, and Mystique form Team X with Mr. Sinister, but I didn't see that in the IGN coverage. We do know Moonstar is in the game, so I'm looking forward to seeing her. Though, if I remember correctly, she's wearing a New Mutants outfit, but they'll explain that somehow. My plan is to take September 19th off and then just play that game all day while my wife and Walker D are in school. So look forward to that. So feel free to subscribe to Jacko SII on YouTube. Which, by the way, we're doing great numbers on YouTube, both the audio and the what do you call it, the video. So thank you everyone for just watching it. That feels so great. Then we also got Maximum X-Men, which as a big Spider-Man fan, I just want to say Maximum Carnage. And they did capitalize the X in Maximum, which I would have thought they would do something like Maximum with the big X and then put men underneath it to make like a fun logo, but this also works. Christopher Yost and Tony S. Daniel is bringing us the new post-Armageddon title. So it's working like the X-Men version of the Avengers or Cyclops' Extinction Team if you were around for the Utopia area, which I like. Um, Storm's leading Bishop, Iceman, Colossus, Psylocke, the Betsy one. Which there could be two Spider-Mans and two Wolverines. We can like the Psylocke brand strong enough to be the two Psylocks. And you just simply have to say Psylocke the Betsy one. Logan and Firestar and Justice. A pretty great cast, actually. I like how the cast isn't gutting any of the current lineups, and I'm pretty sure this is only Logan's second team since we launched with the From the Ashes era. Justice is finally an X-Men, and I'm sure he's going to be whining to Firestar all the time, but at least she has her amazing friend Iceman. Iceman being there reunites the former Marauders with Storm and Bishop. So yeah, just a great cast. Um, and then the brand new or the Marvel next big thing, which I don't know. They didn't cover DNX, which is like literally the X-Men's next big thing. So ah. And then they announced or re-announced the Inferno Hulk versus one shots. But now we got a little more information. I'm gonna commit to the Wolverine one, and then there's a Fantastic Four one, uh Spider-Man, and then the Avengers. And the Avengers say something along the lines of all the non-influence heroes are gonna try one last stand. So I'm tempted to get that because whenever you imply there's going to be a bunch of heroes, my heart just goes, oh, maybe Kitty would be in this, but maybe definitely Magic would be in it. And then Hulk War 1 will ideally have just all the characters in it. And then they re-announced Deadpool and um Punisher's crossover, and then Punisher versus Predator, which is like, all right. Um, oh, there was another one too. And then a bunch of Spider-Man stuff, like Mary Jane's getting a mini series written by Ashley Allen, who I love, and um, Venom's doing something. Sounds like Mary Jane's no longer Venom. Like, sure. Yeah, I feel like that was it. I was like, this is what you call a brand new day, but I was like, or not brand new day, but next big thing. I was like, all right. Um, though to their, I imagine there's an argument that the other day they did an Armageddon panel, so but they didn't talk about DNX there either, so I don't know. But Armageddon's going to end, and we're going to get a Avengers team, which Logan's on that one, and then this new X-Men team show. And I probably at least get the first issue of this. I'm sure they'll do 10 variant covers, and one of them will, I don't know, be like an all heroes team. Oh, and then Saturday, midday-ish, they're going to do the midnight Marvel event panel, which I'm on the hook for the X-Men one. So far we know Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Gambit. And in my heart, I naturally want Kitty and Magic to be in it. Spider-Man looks intense if he actually does have a giant spider on his chest. And then the Fantastic Four looks like it's the body horror one might expect. And then later on in that day, I guess the Marvel Rivals already happened, and I did not hear any news about it. Um, and then there's gonna be the MCU panel at 6:30, which for me be 7:30. And there is something in between the two. There was an X-Men 97 panel, and we got season four confirmed, which I feel like we already knew three and four were confirmed, but sure. The midnight panel and Dad cannot keep thoughts in his head. On Hot Ones, the Punisher and Spider-Man are on there, so that's cool. Um, who's gotta go to Reddit to go to Marvel.com. Let's see here. Token, Marvel Avengers, Rivals again. X-Men 97, Next Big Thing, Midnight Universe. Oh, Marvel Fanfare. Take behind the scenes trip through Marvel House of Ideas storytelling, including insider insights and unheard comic book anecdotes behind upcoming and past projects. Take a dive into the history of your favorite Marvel Comics storylines in a special panel built for fans by fans. And be sure to stay around for the exclusive giveaway comic. And that's at 3. So, and 5:30 is the Marvel Studios, and then they're done. And the Midnight Universe is at 1:45, so 2:45 for me. So there you go. All right, everyone. X-Men 97, Season 2, Episode 6, Danger.exe. I think it's Danger who does the previously on X-Men. Um, we definitely get reminded hard that Magneto died. I'm like, is this going to be the Polaris grieving episode? It could also have been Polaris saying the previously on. Quentin Quire was added to the mutants grabbing the fence part of the title sequence, and we got an X Factor shot as well. It's a 33-minute long episode. We keep seeing Magneto dying over and over again as Xavier's running a danger room scenario. We see that Apocalypse did literally put his foot on Xavier's head. Um, because Xavier keeps running the Magneto death sequence, the danger room just keeps amping up its loosening its safety protocols. And then I started wondering if we're going to get a montage of things the danger room has witnessed, such as Morphin Wolverine's workouts. Um, The Danger Room's playing fast and loose with the safety protocols. Xavier wishes he could fill Magneto one last time. Like this show knows what it's doing. The Executioner is Willem Stryker, which I don't know if he was named in the first season, but I'm like, all right, Stryker. Polaris is messing with Stryker's squad. Polaris is so cool at she's just taking out all the goons single-handedly. Polaris works in a polar opposite line, which is like, all right, Polaris. Like I can't imagine X Factor's heard her do that a bunch. We get Val Cooper, who's not pleased with Polaris. I don't love Val telling Polaris that she's out of control. The Strikers goons are actually the Purifiers, which makes sense. We get all of X Factor. They have a red blackbird, or a red bird, if you will. X Factor works out of a shield helicarrier. I think it's okay to come down hard on terrorists. Polaris is being considered an ex-Magneto, as we get a hint that they share more than a power set. The president and Val Cooper are permanently dismissing Polaris. A shirtless Havoc in a towel, a green towel. Wolfsbane was in a white towel, so they have co-ed locker rooms. Polaris is holding a Salem Moving Company box, which is cute. The Polaris is moving into a cleanup X mansion, so that he didn't waste any time there. We get a new class of mutants. We get Eye-Boy, Martha, Chamber, Shark Girl, Monet, Dupe, Beak, Quentin Quire, and Dusk, and Sync. I'm not sure who was the gal behind Monet. On another shot, we get to see Wing from the Astonishing X-Men Gifted arc. So I'm immediately like, well, that guy's not making it. Storm is announced as the new headmistress. We get a Sentinel breaking into the X Mansion, so we're going full gifted here. We see Boom Boom. Polaris has a picture of her two dads. Jean welcomes Polaris to her old room. Beast is wearing a Howard the Duck shirt. Polaris has quite a punk room. Pixie and Danger Girl are also at the X Mansion. Xavier doesn't sense Magneto in his own mind, but it's odd to mention. Are we going to get Onslaught in season 3, perhaps? Polaris does know Magneto is her father. They've just been talking around the topic, though. Morphed into Reed Richards, uses arms as jump ropes, and that's pretty fun. Polaris isn't sure if a school dropout is a good example for the kids, and Xavier jokes that they have met Wolverine. Like, I guess the show's done a pretty great job of showing other heroes, so maybe they can do a proper Onslaught season. Might explain why the other heroes don't show up. Well, explains future reasons. There's Danger in the Danger Room. Wing got hurt. Storm Lightning charges Bishop. I think we see Oya in one of the characters. Monet has penance powers, which we did see. Bishop announces that Wing isn't dead. They are locked in the Danger Room. Quentin's wearing a Magneto's right shirt, so that's classic. Danger's having fun with Polaris and Bishop, maybe too much fun. Storm's wearing a nice orange suit, like an orange suit jacket and pants, pantalones. Danger Room turned into Bishop's future. I like that we get to see Polaris would have handled the Prime Sentinels very easily. The Danger Room has evolved. Danger Room knows all their weaknesses, both power and personality. Bishop reaches Polaris. That's nice. Polaris overcharged the room, and now we have Danger. I like Bishop's There's always a damn killing machine. Like, he's not wrong. Danger's heading towards Genosha in a mini jet to confront Xavier, so now we're going full Danger. Bishop needs a partner who isn't going to hold back, which I'm like, who could that be? But it's Polaris. For some reason, it sounded like he was going to go a different direction. Xavier's just talking aloud, but actually he's talking to Beast, Jean, and Scott, who are all in their Morrison quietly suits, so that's pretty cool. This is just animated Beast and not Cat Beast, so he looks a little odd in the suit, but I'm like, hey, wait, they weren't going to second mutation him, or they could have. They're not really explaining why they're in these suits. Like, is it because they're not on X-Men duty? They're just mutants. Beast's sensor tells him the danger room's on its way, and Xavier looks very concerned. Cyclops is annoyed Danger knows all their moves, so Jean makes a telepathic Wolverine claws and then makes Scott shoot through them, creating like a cool prism. It's a shame we didn't get at least a Kitty Pryde cameo here. I would have been annoyed if she was a new recruit, but at least she would have been on the show. Xavier tries to destroy Danger with Jet. Danger has an axe to Xavier's head, but Polaris showed up in time to save him. That's fun that we get Magneto's kid versus Xavier's kid. A bit of a walk, but sure. They are drawn together like magnets, like OK Show. I start wondering if we're gonna get the super set and Sentinel from Danger, but we don't. Danger says survivor of the fittest. Xavier encourages Polaris to go full power, and Bishop offers a balancer. I like Xavier trying to be a father to Polaris. That's nice. He's going to pour all of Magneto that is inside him into her. Like, okay, show. Magneto does have a legacy, and that legacy is Lorna Dane. Danger got overpowered. Lorna and Xavier both felt Magneto. Xavier now sees he's going to do something next, and what he's going to do is evolve the X-Men. He's going to start X Corp. Val Cooper has her own press conference of X Factor. Xavier's in his gray quietly suit from the Danger arc. Well, I guess that'd be more Cassidy suit. Rogue is in a gray outfit, so they're all just getting more edgy, I suppose. Xavier senses apocalypse. Then we cut to Athens, and then we saw the Watcher in the sky, so he's just all over the place. Apocalypse is bringing someone back alive. I'm like, is it Gambit? Is it Magneto? And it's Gambit. So silly. Apocalypse makes clinky sounds when he walks, just like Laura Kinney, the Wolverine. Like, this was a great episode, possibly my second favorite of the season. Time will tell, but I think I'll rank it two and then six. Are we on episode six? Yes. Yes. In the next episode of Strange Land, Savage Heart. So is Xavier going to the Savage Land where he and Magneto spent their honeymoon? So then we got Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, 18. This came out in March 2023. You can follow along on my TikTok and YouTube channel, Jacko SII. Saturday, I'm going to do the read along, and then Sunday will be the cover and image, which is only the two images. We'll get to it. But so I'm going to be using the Blue Sky account too, because Blue Sky doesn't love videos. I mean, it will support a video, but it's so much nicer. It's, four images. And one of those images is this one with Madeline Pryor. Oh, well, first, anyone else watching Big Brother? Like, we're Big Brother fans. And so, hashtag but first. Peter Parker has previously on Amazing Spider-Man Dark Web. Peter Parker has the proportional speed, strength, and agility of a spider, adhesive fingertips and toes, and unique precognitive awareness of danger called spider sense. After the tragic death of his Uncle Ben, Peter Parker understood what great power there must also come great responsibility. He became the crime-fighting superhero called the Amazing Spider-Man. Hell has been brought to New York City, and Spider-Man's clone Ben Reilly, aka Chasm, is to blame. Chasm has sent Peter to Limbo along with J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie Robertson to act out a twisted reflection of the Daily Bugle. But Peter's heroics in Limbo inspired one of the demons to give up evil and have a go at being a good guy. With the help of some sorcery, a sliver of symbiote, and a healthy dose of can't-do attitude, the scrawny demon was transformed into a gallant Grantantian wreck rap. And not a modern moment too soon, as Spider-Man's attempted escape with Jonah and Robbie was interrupted by a demon emulating some of Spidey's most deadly foes, the Insidious Six. Meanwhile, all of Shazam's actions were done in tandem with the Queen of Limbo, Madeline Pryor. Madeline, herself a clone of Jean Grey, was able to come to terms with the X-Men and decide to put a stop to the Limbo invasion. And this is Rick Rat for um well, he's just on the next page. This is brought to us by writer Zeb Wells, penciler Jed McGinnis, inker Cliff Rathburn, colors Marquico Minius, and Eric Archediga. Apologies if I'm nowhere close on those. Letter VC's Joe Caramagna, and I got the variant cover by Ryan Stigman, which is a classic homage variant edition. I thought maybe they wrote the number on there. And just to put it in a moment of time, this is Legacy number 912, and in September, Spider-Man hits issue 1000. So never do math on the mic. Practically 80 issues. Well, no, I mean, it's just 100 minus 12. 88? Yeah, probably could have said that with more confidence. Anyway, so Madeline Pryor standing in front, and we get tiny little magic. But honestly, all it takes is for me to buy a comic is, I mean, heck, I bought a comic in this dark web where they literally, a demon invoked a dark child. I bought it. And Madeline says, wait here. And Cyclops says, Madeline, we made a truce so you'll help us end Limbo's invasion of New York. And you want us to wait? If I'm going to clean up your house, I must first clean up mine. And so we have Havoc, Magic, Firestar in the air, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Forge, Sink, and Iceman. So pretty, I mean, it's the current team of the, well, then current team of the X-Men. And then we cut to Madeline confronting Chasm and Hollow's Eve. Since Jean Grey gave Madeline back her memories, she's willing to call off the second Inferno. And unfortunately, Ben still wants his memories back, and so he still wants to trick Peter into eating this golden apple and get his memories back, which honestly, every time I get to this issue, I'm like, why couldn't Jean Grey have talked to Peter and been like, hey, Ben just wants his memories. I can just essentially copy and paste them so that you keep your memories and then he gets the memories as well, and then everyone's fine. But they never address that in this crossover, and I think it suffers from that because 1,000 feet up in the air looking down, hey, Gene, you could solve this whole thing. And then Chasm's upset because Madeline wants to call it quits. And then Madeline leaves because she's like, well, mission done. Then meanwhile, in Limbo, we get our heroes and Rick Rap, which is literally just Parker spelled backwards. And then, oh, do they name these Insidious Six? One's like a MODOK looking guy. One looks like Clarion. I don't know who this guy is. Craven, maybe the furry back. I don't know. These get cuties. And then Rick Rap shoots his webs like he does finger guns, and that's fun. It's nice to just have some levity in a pretty serious, high stakes comic. We get an ad for Sins of Sinister, the second issues, and I think I want to get Immortal X-Men 2 for my collection. It was not a very good crossover. Hollow's Eve confronts Madeline about like, hey, like you made a deal, we want to keep doing it. And Madeline says, I believe in you, Eve. Whatever you decide to do next will be mighty and terrifying. And Hollow's Eve's like, I knew you understand. And then Hollow's Eve's gimmick is that she has a pouch with a bunch of masks and she puts on the mask and gets a different set of powers. And so she puts on a Frankenstein monster mat and then she pretty much just defeats Madeline Pryor rather quickly and takes her scythe, which is like, oh. All right. And then Jameson, the yeller that he is, screams at another demon, and then they just rock off. And then Hallows Eve presents the scythe to Chasm. And with a little bit of encouragement, we get King Chasm, who looks pretty cool, and he's a awfully big boy. And so now we're in some trouble. And then they are the heroes are brought back to New York City and get confronted by King Chasm. And he makes short work of Rip Rap. And Spider-Man. And then in Central Park, uh, Spider-Man finds himself. King Chasm has created his own little cool tower. Um, which I wonder, is this the same tower that becomes the Limbo Embassy? Probably, right? Because there want to be two different towers. The Spider-Man is slowly waking up. He's confronted by Cyclops. And the man is asking Parker if he wants to team up. And Spider-Man's always in the mood to team up. And we get a great final page of them shaking hands. And then there's some letters. Aitan Ben Yaman from Israel, Zachary Garrison from Los Angeles, Bruce Wischiser, aka Johnstown Spidey from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and Albert Pulaski from Greenport, Brooklyn. So that's the fun. And then yeah, next episode will be Dark Web finale. So we did it. Let's see, I'm looking at the checklist, and things we didn't cover was Amazing Spider-Man 15, 16, and 17, which I guess 17 was the first appearance of Rick Rapp. We didn't do Gold Goblin. We did Venom 13, but not 14, 15, 16. So yeah, I don't know, we covered it. All the good parts of it. And that, everyone, was Amazing Spider-Man Volume 618, made into the band. All right, so this spoiled the heck out of the comics. I'm thinking about title in this episode. I mean, you would know, dear listener, what the title is already, but I'm thinking about going X-Men Hellfire Murder because next episode should definitely just be called Spider-Man Brand New Day. So we will probably look a little weird breaking up the X-Men 97 titles, but X-Men Hellfire Murder, pretty solid comic. So it has a very complicated credit page. Um, the colorist was Fuentes Shugo. Letter was VC's Ariana Maurer. And then we get the creative teams of Saladin Ahmed and Joel Jones, Gail Simone and Luciano Vilcio, Erica Schultz and Aaron Cooter, Jed McKay, Tony S. Daniel, and Mark Molaris, Dr. Eve L. Ewing and Fredericia Manson, Saladin Ahmed and Federicio Manson, Saladin Mohammed, Corey Smith, and Oren Jr. round out the rest. I got the RB Silva variant cover as Kitty was more spotlighted on it. Sebastian Shaw is attempting to take back the Hellfire Gala name and is going to do it in high fashion with a masquerade ball. I was hoping we get a final page of all the characters in their new costumes and their names above their heads. I don't think Magic attended this or I completely missed her. Rogue takes time to chat with Cyclops. Oya wasn't supposed to be here, but she happened to be in town. Mr. Sinister dressed as an angel is bored of Shaw's, who's dressed as a king. Hashtag no kings. Angel dressed as a devil is also there. The mansion's AI programmed everyone's costumes besides Shaw's. We get to see Storm for a panel and establish Kitty Pryde's cat outfit. She looks great here. Hellion gets a moment. Cyclops and Psylocke get a dance. The canon Psylocke. And they are very flirty. The dialogue implies she's going to cheat on Grey Crow, but actually they have a devious other plan to murder either 3K member Astra or Joseph, or ideally both. These two have intense chemistry, though. It does remind me of the Jim Lee X-Men run where Betsy and Cannon's body was flirty with Scott, but he was able to resist oil looking good as Betsy was. So I like the idea now that Cannon is in her proper body, he's actually attracted to the right mind in the right body. I also love that it was Emma who insisted Scott learn to dance. Scamma was truly the best. Oya and Ransom find each other, and I really like these two. I wish they weren't separate by 4,371 miles. Page 13, which was brought to us by Saeed Ahmed and Joel Jones, is Kitty and Martinique dancing. Martinique, the mastermind, not Lady Mastermind, but the other female mastermind. The Kitty Pryde subreddit spoiled these images, so I sort of knew to expect this, but knowing there was an illusionist that maybe Shaw wasn't actually murdered, so I kept waiting for a reveal. I like how Kitty doesn't recognize Martinique. She recognized everyone else, but it makes sense she wouldn't know Martinique. I wouldn't want Kitty to cheat on Nina. Like, please break up with someone before you cheat on them. It's just gross. I would have said I was always more of a Reagan Wingard Lady Mastermind fan of the two sisters, as she's just pure fun and Reagan is in more serious of the two. Um, the least serious of the two, which is usually the one I'm drawn to. But Reagan has more page time and is in more stories I've actually read. But Martinique Wingard having a crazy chemistry with Kitty, well, now I have a great reason to love Martinique. You best know that I'm going to be listening to that Cerebro episode again with Alex Abad Santos, cross-referencing my League of Comic Book Geeks with Travis Starnes' complete Marvel reading order. I'm only missing Empire X-Men issues 2 and 3 of the issues she's in that I want for my collection. For a reason, I own issue 4, but not issue 1 either, so I should just try to buy those first 3 issues once I'm back in the back issue buying game. I have like an ongoing list now where I'm like, all right. Emma Frost and Namor meet up and talk about the 7 virtues and sins. These two are always a joy. Logan and Jubilee are the stars of the issue as they investigate the murder. The murder of Sebastian Shaw. Dun dun dun. Shaw was killed by a nerve gas. With Shaw's death, the mansion's black market security system kicks in and Kitty helps stop some of the defenses. So silly having Kitty be the one to say X-Men aren't murderers when Frank Boldenon, the director of One, is very real quick to point out that Kitty herself has killed people. Toad points to Emma as a prime suspect because she's always willing to kill Shaw. Kitty and the mutants finally get to see Shaw's dead body, so we know he's actually dead. I still, at this point, think this is all an illusion and Shaw's grinning somewhere. I love so much Kitty shipping Emma and Namor. They need a ship name, but I can't think of one immediately. Whitefish or the Imperial Frost. I don't know, something. Emma doesn't want Catherine to be crass. I love these two together. Emma is already looking forward to never having to think about Shaw ever again. So silly dupe up in this guy of his costume. I wish we got a look at his front. Shaw murdered Kitty way back in Marauders Volume 111, so naturally she's also a prime suspect, but she was dancing with someone extremely hot wearing a Lily mask. That's how Kitty described her. Shane Lockheed wasn't in this issue as he was also left to drown by Shaw. Hellion is quick to accuse 3K's Astra and Joseph of killing Shaw. Astra had mentioned the black market security system, which gives Logan a lead. He tells Jubilee she's on her own to maintain control of the room. If you're wondering why Saladin Ahmed wrote so many pages of this, it's because he's the Wolverine author. And so Wolverine's the star of the comic. Um, you can follow along with my reviews and just general thoughts on my website, Shout Out Playing with Magic. Usually I post images of the comics. I apparently hit my max with the WordPress, which if I get more Patreon, I'm going to be able to bump up the membership so I can get more because I hit my max at 3 GB. And so I went through pretty much went to the earliest post and started deleting images until I got down to 2 GB so we can start fresh again. And so if you start at the website from the beginning, you probably see a lot of just pure reviews and no images, um but the images I had to scan because back in the day I had to like legit just scan my images. I saved all those because I put in the work for it. I like to think I own those images. Anyways. Uh so anyways, I hope I saved all the kitty scenes, but I'm pretty sure I did, but because I looked for her in every single panel. And she's wearing a like an all black dress with like a cat mask. So and her hair is up. So like, I just kept looking for all black silhouettes with like a brunette Marge Simpson look. Beehive. And I believe I caught them all. I like that we get a moment that Cyclops he cancels the mission to kill Astra and Joseph as the attention's on them, and Shaw's dead and he doesn't care about his death. He was scum. Rogue and Gambit are cute in this issue and maybe bored of the plot. Gambit offers to make her super gumbo. Either one sounds good to me. I love Rogue taking the time to make an Ember reference as he is the ghost horse. Logan follows his nose to Toad, but he assures us that it isn't what it looks like. Jubilee, who looks like she looks like but isn't her, shoots Logan. Turns out we have a new grouping of mutants, the Hellfire Brotherhood. Mystique, who still has some facial scarring, so that's nice continuity. Destiny, always looking great. Toad, Empath, who's at the absolute worst. And Mastermind herself, Martinique. Like, what? Kitty would work so well in this group. Mystique explains everything. She was aware of the mansion's defenses. She convinced it that she was the real Shaw. The mansion killed Shaw with the defense nerve gas. He was going to rally the mutants and the ones who wouldn't work with him. He was going to use Forge's perma mutant power gun technology and remove any mutants who wouldn't work with Shaw. And now that he's dead, the Hellfire Brotherhood is going to just use his billions to, invest in mutant kind. Poor Forge, that gun is his true legacy and being one of Storm's exes. I was really hoping Martinique would have interjected with some comment about how she was dancing with Real Hottie and found out it was Kitty then, as we don't ever get them learning about the other, which is a real shame. Also, Shaw is super dead. The mansion defenses finally stop and the door is open. The room suspects 3K was behind Shaw's murder. Emma and Namor leave as friends. I like Emma telepathically calling Rift to get her and Catherine out of there. Rogue has a nice chat with Oya, telling her that Ransom isn't as tough as he looks, so please don't hurt him. Oya was going to have this exact same conversation with Rogue, which seems odd as she was going to ask Rogue to not have Ransom hurt her. But sure, dialogue's complicated and I fumble more times than I'm proud of. I'm really liking the silly new trend of putting the credit page at the end so we have a legitimate post-credit scene. Turns out Emma did kill Shaw. She just overloaded his brain, which would have had the same signs as a nerve gas. So she got lucky there. Logan would keep this a secret just like he kept the Hellfire Brotherhood a secret from Jubilee. This was a lot of fun, and Kitty actually got to do stuff in this issue, so I love that. Moonstar 5, such a great conclusion to a terrific miniseries. Danny spends most of the issue trying to figure out a way to save her parents, not kill Chiron, figure out a way to get rid of the curses sword Danecleef. Ashley Allen really understands Danny Moonstar. Eduardo Audino has some terrific all series long. Arthur Halsey has been slaying it with colors, and of course, VC's Clayton Cowles' lettering is top notch. We get an appearance by Brightwing, Brightwen, which I love. I also love how Danny comes up with a plan, high risk, high reward style. Once a day is saved, we learn that Yanisha Swollen isn't dead, so that's all I wanted. I also knew Danny could do it. We get a great page kiss at Danny at Kion. I was won over with this pair. And for anyone buying every appearance, Beta Ray Bill shows up in this, and I love that horse guy. Uh, and then we have Uncanny X-Men Volume 632, written by Gail Simone, art by a team of pencilers Rogue Antonio, Jim Toll, and Federicia Manson. Color artist is Matthew Wilson, wearing that great coloring continuity. A letter by VC's Clayton Cowles. Rogue rescues Kurt from the good aliens. Ransom directs the outliers. Death Jury makes it so we get zombies versus the Brood. Gambit wants to be called Wyvern. 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 I like Jubilee immediately going with the new name. Butina needs a new agent as her current one wants her to fight the Brood. Marls and Death Dream have their first kiss. It's very cute. Ember's back. We also get Cow Litter confessing their love to each other, and I love them so much. Wyvern is a full creature now. Vig isn't dead, which makes sense if he's a cockroach man. Jubilee instructed Mutina to show the Brood their greatest fear, and for a few pages, I really wanted the page reveal to be Lockheed, their greatest enemy. But sure, Galactus is a pretty intimidating image himself. We don't get any drama of Wyvern turning back into his natural Remy state. Rogue rebrands the Outliers as the New Mutants. I do like these newish cost uniforms. Becca looks great. They do look very similar to what they looked like in the Who's Been Sleeping in My Bed arc that just ended. Rogue gave him a new name and costume, so she's leaving to get Gambit some help. We get Death Dream's very tragic past. Death Dream is 15, so nice to get an age to these kids. Um, a bit more, everybody. Only Rogue and Remy are leaving. The rest of the Uncanny X-Men are sticking around, which makes sense as Monet's supposed to be leading the team now. It has taken 32 issues, but we finally reunited the Uncanny X-Men with the New Mutants. That's pretty cool. Um, then Wolverine Volume 824, Logan versus Moore. Then Moore escapes to Mount St. Helens, where Logan catches up to him, but unfortunately, so does Alpha Flight. Another fight breaks out that will continue next issue. Gambit Wanted #1. So great to be reading a Claremont comic again. We only get to see the X-Men, Cyclops, Jean, Logan, and Banshee with Little Ro for a half of a page. Then he's off on his mission. Um, the Daily Lockheed account, that you can follow on Blue Sky and Twitter. And then there's the dedicated Lockheed the Dragon subreddit, if you're a Redditor. And has launched the X-Men Forever side quests. So that should be fun to follow along there. We're in case you never read X-Men Forever, Volume 2, technically. It's the what if Chris Claremont wasn't ever kicked off the title by Jim Lee. And so he got to do one whole series and then X-Men Forever 2. So there's X-Men Forever Volume 2, and then there's X-Men Forever 2, which on my save files looks a little complicated. Looking at my save files, I completely forgot about President Kitty Pryde in X-Men The End and how I could easily be posting that image every President's Day. So I gotta remember that. Um, and the X-Men show up for half a page, and then he's off on his mission. He runs into Bullseye, and I immediately am like, oh, that's why it's called Gambit Target. But it's actually called Gambit Wanted, so we still don't know what about that. Bullseye having a real year this year with the Daredevil TV show and turning 50. Like he looks great. And he's gonna have a special 50th anniversary where him and other characters are turning 50. Like Thanos is giving him galaxy powers, and he's going after Star-Lord for sure. And Rocket? I think so. And then we get um Godzilla Conquers the Multiverse, written by Jerry Duggan, art by Javier Garden, color artist David Gruel, letter VC's Travis Lantham. We did get magic in this issue. I must have missed her head thingies in the preview pages. Doom has assembled the Avengers of Doom, as he calls them, or Kang's Chaos Crew, as Kang prefers them to be called. Emma isn't impressed with men's desire to name things after themselves, so shots fired at these guys and Batman. I like Ghost Rider's continued, I didn't sign up for this. Doom recaps what happened in Godzilla Infinity War, and we get the magic panel as she's among the defeated heroes. The Avengers of Doom are Kang, Emma Frost, Human Torch, Reyes, Ghost Rider, Punisher, Man-Thing, her Kagglemacher, their gadget guy, and Miles Morales, Spider-Man. The first Earth to go to, the last costume person standing is Red Skull, which is gross. But I love how everyone's grossed out by him, and then the Punisher kills him, which is a delight. We see Mecha Fing Fang Foom. Miles collects a very big, cute purple guy. They go to another Earth with a giant walrus. Miles is capturing them all as he collects an ape-looking fella. Issue ends with Weaponzilla, the Godzilla-style Godzilla that was on a variant cover of the first series. Marvel Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe? Or is that the Predator destroys the Marvel Universe? No, no, no. Punisher kills and Godzilla destroys, which makes sense. Um, People must have loved that design. I know Walker D did, as I bought that variant cover for him. So one day Weaponzilla will be worth a thing. But it isn't the end, as we get a post-credit scene, which is fun as we it is after the legit page later. We see Noel has assembled his Noel's Kill Crew, consisting of America Chavez, Invisible Woman, Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Silver Surfer, and Dr. Octopus, all notified, of course. And then Captain Marvel Dark Past 4, a lot of plot happened. I'm always a sucker for a costume gallery, so we get that for a panel. Storm also shows up for a panel as the Avengers are fighting outside as Carol's having some sort of mental battle. October 26th, solicitations, Midnight X-Men #1. I want to get the Crane cover. Doom All on One, where Doom's supposed to fight all the characters, so I'm gonna get that, hoping Kitty and Magic will be in it. DNX3, I want a Magic cover. X-Men 39 and 40, any cover with Magic. X-Men United 8, hopefully Kitty will be on one of these covers. Alien versus X-Men 2, which hopefully Kitty will be on a cover. She has a dedicated backup feature, so there's 4 variant covers. One would think one of them would be Kitty Pryde related. Captain Britain 50th anniversary special. I'm going to get the Alan Davis cover. It has Lockheed on it. So great. Jeff the Landshark Superstar. I'm going to get the regular cover with Magic Hot on it. And then maybe Godzilla Conquers the Multiverse 4. But it'd be 10 comics if I get all of these. So I don't know. Right now, I'm not getting X-Men 38 or 37 and 38 until I see a variant cover of Magic on it, because the Science Team, I bought all those issues and Magic wasn't in a single one. So I'm like, they're doing a pretty good job of saying this is a Grey Crow issue, this is a Psylocke issue, this is a Quinkle issue. So plus I can always just get back issues. But oh yeah, so Patreon, everybody. I created 3 tiers. There's a free tier, naturally. There's a $1 tier. It just says a big thank you for supporting the show. There's a $5 tier where you can sponsor a segment where I will say your name, presents, and then either whatever you want the segment to be, a top 10 list, thoughts on a crossover. Um, I mean, it's your segment. You just tell me what you want, and I will add it to the show notes. And then there's the Make a Dreams tier, which is $17. and that will pay for like the Zoom account, the WordPress account. I'm gonna hopefully be able to put production into the podcast, the website, the YouTube channel. Like I bought the Wolverine game already. I'm no good at fighting games, so I have not bought the Marvel token game, even though it has magic in it. But I don't know. If enough people support it, I can do that. That'll be content for the website. I want to get that Marvel versus Capcom collection of games. Um, I don't know. If Kitty Pryde ever came to Marvel Rivals, I'll play Rivals more often. Cyclops is in it. I haven't even turned it on yet. I could get skins in Fortnite, and then there'd be more content for you to enjoy that way. Um, but the main show, I should have led with this. I'm sorry, dear listener or viewer. We can table that. The main show will always be free, and pretty much I just need my Zoom account to be paid for. I do this by myself, so um Zoom lets me do unlimited, but if I ever want to do a guess, I think with a guess it's 30 minutes on the free, and that just seems embarrassing. So thanks to Vic and Comic Books Beyond podcast for being a top tier Patreon. Gonna pay for Zoom. I'm waiting for the 5 day thing to, I mean, this is behind the curtain, but they make you wait 5 days before you do a payout, and then I'm going to pay for the Zoom upgrade. And I was gonna, here's a little anxiety moment, but I was about to withdraw it when I was like, wait, is my bank account properly set up? And then by doing that, reset the 5 days, and it was properly done because I did make sure all my numbers match, but just anxiety got the better of me. I was like, dang it, I could have done it. But I do ideally have two guests set up to be on the pod. I just have to follow up on them. And then I'm just going to keep sending out invites. If you want to be on the pod, reach out. To get more listener feedback and engagements, you can email the podcast at shadowandplayingofmagic.com. Nope, that's the website. Shadow and Flame with Magic at gmail.com. And then I could read the letter on the podcast, or we just want to communicate that way. That works too. Just, say not for the pod, do not print. Oh yeah, Moonstar did not have any letters, but I sent a letter for every single issue, but they know how much I love Danny Moonstar, so, and Ashley Allen. Uh, so those are the three patrons. The main show would never be behind. I don't know um about bonus episodes or anything. It irks me when I listen to a podcast when I'm not a Patreon subscriber where they make a lot of references to like, and then that was on a Patreon episode. I'm just like, I don't want to do that type of stuff. But um, I don't know. Oh, and then I guess yeah, and then more support for me, I can then trickle to other Patreons. Right now I pretty much support Cerebro and Turtle Soup, and but I have like a whole list of like memberships that I'm a free member of that I wouldn't mind. But um uh, so just the Patreon will support me, it will support hopefully things you'll want to see or hear. And yeah, if you think of other tiers that will make you want to, not make you, will inspire you to become a Patreon, it's great. But these are the ones I'm comfortable with right now and what I know I can do. Um, and yeah, so that'd be the Patreon. And oh, and the Patreon, there'll be a link in it now because I didn't do a link before because I was bashful about it, but now we're doing it, everybody. And then ideally the Patreon segment would be a little shorter, but you go to Patreon and you look for SNFWM, the and spelt out, and that's the same for the Blue Sky account and the Instagram. And next week's comics, we're going to review X-Men Volume 634, Generation X 23/6. X-Men Outback 2, Bishop 2, and maybe Ultimate Impact Reborn 3. I sort of forgot that book already came out. And then Spider-Man Brand New Day, X-Men 97 Season 2, Episode 7, Savage Heart, Savage Land? No. Savage Land, Savage. I don't know why I did this to myself. Savage Land, oh, Strange Land, Savage Hearts. Because that makes more sense. It does. It does. Um, and then top X comics of 2026 thus far, I've updated the list. So Magic and Colossus 5, Marvel Swimsuit Special Brand New Beach Day, Moonstar 5, Inferno Hulk 7, X-Men United 1. At number 6, Avengers Volume 934, Generation X 23 1, X-Men 97 Season 2, Sorcerer Supreme 3, and new number 10, X-Men Hellfire Murder. Knocked out Jay and Silent Bob as I was like, Locky was on the cover. He was in the book. It made the list for a little bit, but it's off the list now. So, um, yeah. So those are my top 10 at the moment. I'm really trying to keep Sorcerer Supreme 3 on there because I love that Madeline Pryor issue. Um, but using my X list pretty much just becomes a, hey, here's all the comics Lockheed appeared in. Because sadly, it's usually less than this many pages or issues. But unfortunately, Kitty Pryde's not in that many issues this year either, and so it's been pretty easy to keep this list. But I don't know. I do not know. But everyone, that was episode 239. Try to do the plugs throughout the show, but honestly, you can follow me at all socials at Jacko SII, including TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitter. Um, and then the podcast SNFWM on both Blue Sky and Instagram. Um, YouTube, we're getting so close to 700 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed yet, I would love to get past 700. The Lucky the Dragon subreddit is on the road to 700 as well. The Kitty Pride subreddit has 3,000. And so in my heart, I'm just like, if we hit 1,000 at one point, I will just be happy with that as a win because I feel like a third of Kitty Pride fans should be Lockheed fans, right? Um, so one day, but so every day I'm just, but for YouTube, the same, where I just think one day I'm gonna wake up and be like, what happened? Overnight success. And then like, hundreds of subscribers. Um, if you would, if you're so inclined, give the podcast 5-star ratings and a review wherever you get your podcasts. Love to just keep growing the pod. I love doing it. I love seeing the numbers. And ideally, I get some guests and get, more people. I just feel like I'm ready for, the next tier of podcasting, whatever tier that, right, system that is. But, yeah, just it'd be nice. I'm definitely not talking to the void. That part's reassuring. We're so successful now that Spotify is giving me all the data per episode. So that's great because before it was a lot of like zero listens, and now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, a lot more people are listening. How great is that? So thank you everyone so much for listening or watching. Um, there's also the website Shadow and Flame of Magic, the second home of the internet. And um, you can email Shadow and Flame of Magic at gmail.com. And everyone, until next time, please don't have any shadows of doubt. Ignite those flames and make like magic and have a great week. And I will talk to you next time. All right, everyone. Adios.